Hello, everyone. I am Hex Harper, and this is the very special pilot episode of The Conversation. Today I have with me Dr. Crow, aka Dr. Bro, and we're going to talk about some D&D stuff together and whatnot,
Dr. Bro.
and all of our various misadventures and everything. Say hello.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Dr. Crow. Nice to meet you.
All right, so I guess just to start off everything, what systems have you played? How long? All that kind of stuff.
All right. Well, when I got into tabletop, I started with Dungeons and Dragons 4th edition. Yeah, I was one of those people. Uh, um, I remember Dungeons and Dragons in my Boy Scout troop, always looking like so cool, but I was annoying, and the other older kids didn't want to play with me. So eventually, I'd get a hold of the 4th edition myself, start trying to play. And right now I play 5th edition, although I'm starting to try to branch into other tabletop games as well.
All right, like what?
I'm thinking about Call of Cthulhu for my next game because we're almost done with our current campaign. We're going through Undermountain right now, and they're on the 22nd of 23rd level. So, so close.
Oh wow,
Oh
that's
yeah,
that. Uh,
we've been running that for almost 2 years now.
I don't think I actually ever had a game that lasted 2 years. The longest
Yeah,
one I've been in was a fourth edition game, but
uh,
it definitely didn't go that long. It was a good few months. It was about
yeah, I'm very fortunate to have a very consistent group of players.
awesome.
Yeah,
Uh,
you should try play with us sometime, but you're usually working, so yeah.
yeah, time zones and early shifts.
Yep.
But let's see. I mean, for myself, uh, I started at around 3.5. I actually kind of got interested in wanting to learn how to play D&D from watching some of Spoonie's videos. And let's see, I didn't officially get into any particular campaign until about 2008, uh, when I started college. I wasn't very good at tanking. And that was at a point. I was one of those people who was like super obsessed with paladins for a while. I'm like, oh wait, I'm terrible with these, and I'm completely retarded. So no. Uh, Eventually did a lot of homebrew kind of stuff with a different group. Uh, Played some anime D20, fourth edition. Played fifth edition a couple times, but it wasn't really more than one shots. And I mean, the system's okay. Uh, Trying to remember what else I've played. Uh, I did try running a little system called Try10 for a few sessions, and then life just kind of fizzled out, and a few other games as well. But yeah, that's that's kind of the general scope of my role playing experience, and now I'm just trying to make something with friends.
Awesome. Yeah,
Uh,
you've told me about that little project of yours. I won't say much more than that.
oh yeah, I don't mind talking. We can they talk about it later. Whatever. It doesn't. It's that is not important right now.
Yeah. What's important right now is some stories.
Oh yes. Uh, all right. So, hmm. Yeah, I'm sure you have some favorites lined up. So go right
Oh
ahead.
yeah. Oh, sure. You want me to start it off? Okay.
All right. Yeah.
All right. So let's go back all the way to the distant land of 2018. Woo, 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 woo. My players are playing a game of. Actually, no, this would be 2017. So we are playing Curse of Strahd,
All right.
which is a gothic fantasy setting for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition.
Mm-hmm.
It's a remake of the Ravenloft campaign setting, and they are going through like this large dungeon called the Amber Temple, and it's supposed to be filled with all these dark horrors and eldritch powers that are going to grant them boons in order to take on the vampire Strahd von Zarevich. Uh, And as they're going through these coffins, and they're supposed to be a good party, and it's like we got a paladin, we got a cleric, we got a warlock who's made some rough deals and he's trying to get out of them. We got an artificer who's um, trained himself to be a vampire hunter. So yeah, we got a very, very cool group. And they're inside the Amber Temple are these coffins made out of the Amber gemstone, not like the tree sap.
Mm-hmm.
And inside them are supposed to be these shards of dark eldritch evils. And they like to make deals. It's like, if you touch my sarcophagus, I will grant you this great boon, like the ability to summon hellhounds to come fight for you, the ability to shoot fire from your eyes, and stuff like this. All these really cool, powerful effects. But they come with a detriment. Things like the one that allow you to raise the dead. It makes you look ghoulish. One makes all your teeth fall out. One of them teaches you the ability to speak infernal, but every time you do it, smoke starts coming out of all your pores. So it's
like, of course these things are evil.
All of them except for one player, the Artificer Vampire Hunter, touched one of these sarcophagus and got at least one power from them. So they're all misshapen and malformed, as the darkness of the setting has actually started to corrupt them at this point.
Except for the one dude.
Except for the Artificer, the Vampire Hunter. And the Artificer doesn't follow them into the last room. He's pretty much fed up with them at this point. It's like, no, we shouldn't be doing this. We need to get out of this place. We got the information we need here. We need to go. The Warlock also hasn't taken any at this time, which is amazing because his whole thing is that he wants power. But he's seeing what it's doing to everybody else, and it's like, that may not be worth the cost. The last one teaches you how to become a lich.
Like, yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh,
Warlock.
God.
That one's worth it. So he touches it, gets the power. I don't remember what bad thing happens to him, but it's something that he can hide easily. So as they're leaving this mountain and everybody's regretting what they have done to themselves, the Artificer just loudly goes, I'm disappointed in all of you. Except for you, Warlock. You've actually surprised me. Well done. And Warlock's like, yeah, sure.
Oh, now and it's like, I know how to become a lich, so I could easily become the next Acerak. Yay!
Acerak, yes. It's fantastic. So that has been kind of like a build-up in a couple of campaigns after that. It's that what has ever happened to this Warlock? Especially because one of my players in my current campaign is playing the same Paladin from that campaign.
Oh, nice.
As he's going through like a path of redemption, trying to take on the evils in Undermountain.
Okay.
It's been fantastic.
I'm trying to remember. I remember there was a 4th edition. I was like part of the 4th edition campaign I was in. Part of it was I don't remember the exact name of it. It was a module. It was all pertaining to the Raven Queen because like one of her champions, his corpse, got stolen, and there was like some cult to some like particular. It was like to some particular god or whatever. And it's like they're going to try to summon him or something like that. And it's like, we got to get that back. And my character at that time was a tiefling fire elementalist who also worshipped the Raven Queen. So as soon as we heard that, I'm like, yes, please, I am in. Tell me where they're... Tell me where they are, so I will set them all on fire.
Just burn them all. Burn them all.
That's literally what his gimmick was. Not to mention, I had a couple feats, and I was going to get even more, where I treat fire immunity as like resistance 25, and that so I was eventually going to be able to set things that were immune to fire on fire, and the fire elementalist like main at will ability is a D12 plus a D6 damage. So it's just like, okay, but like there was like we all got we all got blessings before we all sent out, and whenever someone ended up getting unconscious, they kept seeing this particular vision of this like big gigantic raven, and it's like, they just all kind of reacted to it in different ways, and then they suddenly like got up and one person moved towards it, and they were able to move like 16 squares or something like that afterwards, and getting up to a stable amount of health. I ended up just bowing to the thing and being like, I refuse to die until my quest is complete. And it's like, oh, you get all your encounter powers back and all this other cool stuff. And here's a cloak for you. Like, yay!
Power. All the power you want.
But
That's awesome.
What was like, tell me some of the stuff about your current campaign and how long that's been going and everything.
Yeah, so we've been playing about a year and a half, 2 years now, I believe. It started at level 1, and they are about level 17 right now. It's been fantastic. So the two modules that we're playing through, it was Waterdeep Dragon Heist and Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Okay. Dragon Heist is an okay module. For some reason, Wizards of the Coast has been doing this weird multiple playthrough thing. And it's like, well, instead of just trying to make sure you can play the modules multiple times, how about you just make them good and people will want to play them again?
So, like, what? Do you have to, like, is it just, like, you find alternate endings sort of thing, or is it more of a...
Yeah, there's alternate endings. Curse of Strahd had a really cool one in that at the very beginning of the game, you meet a bunch of Vistani, and they can give you a card reading, and it's a legitimate random card draw of where these items that you need to defeat Strahd are, and an ally who will help you, and where you will fight Strahd for the last time.
Oh, okay.
And it's actually a really cool way because it actually does lead it up. It does. They did release an actual set of fortune reading cards for the game, but it also gives you like rules to play it with a regular set of playing cards.
Oh, okay.
Or you can just like choose the choices from the book yourself, however you want. I really like that feature. And
it makes perfect sense.
And Dragon Heist does a really good way too, in that there are actually 4 ways you can play the game. You can play it in Waterdeep during the summer, the winter, the fall, or the spring. And the villain's different depending on which time of year you're playing in. Like during the spring, you're fighting the Xanathar Guild, which is the Waterdeep Thieves Guild sort of deal. Winter, you're fighting the Zentarum, which is the black market that has affected the whole thing. Fall, you're fighting Jarlaxle and his pirate brigands. And during the summer, you're fighting a devil cult. So it's actually really interesting to play it that way. However, they still follow like the same beats throughout the story. Like, okay, this happens, then this happens, and then this variety of different things happen.
All right.
And
so
I'm going. That's more of a yeah. This is more of a review of that module. I love the idea because I love heist, but this isn't a heist. This is a treasure hunt, not a heist. Like, there's no point where the players plan to break into a place, have to gather up the materials to do so in order to get the big thing. It's actually possible to stop that whole sequence of events happening in the module.
I know there was some talk. I don't know if anything will actually ever come out of it, but there was kind of this idea for a board game that one of us had. I don't remember who, but it's like I would totally want to play it, where basically, like you're a bunch of thieves, and it's as if you just teleported into Gringotts, and it's just a smash and grab, and you're just trying to get you're just trying to get as much as you can and whatever items and trinkets and cash, and break out before the magical security system catches you. And
that sounds dope. I love that.
It does sound
really
dope.
cool.
I would totally play that.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. But back to the module, which try to steer back to
Oh
the
yeah,
thing I
yeah,
actually
yeah.
wanted
Go
to
right
talk
ahead.
about.
It came to mind.
So when I like looked over this, it's like these are all really cool. Let's do all four of them.
Hmm.
So it became the party versus all four of these villains as they're all fighting to get this 500,000 stash of gold
Ooh.
that was embezzled by the previous royalty of Waterdeep.
Mhm.
And of course, the players do manage to get it in the end, and they managed to get into every single one of their bases, except for Jarlaxle. Jarlaxle managed to diplomats his way past all of them. Did end up in a big fight there at the end where he tried to get a hold of the gold, but they managed to beat him back long enough where he's like, okay, this is not profitable anymore.
Mhm.
And he's kind of like been tiptoeing in and out of the setting ever since. Kind of like, hey, you remember me? Yeah, that one guy you made really mad and now he's gone, quote unquote. Yeah, here's a little bit of trouble for you. Here's a little bit more trouble for you. Oh, you're married. I kidnapped your wife. Now what? So now they're going to try to be playing a whole. They're level 17 now, and they haven't fought Jarlaxle since they were level 5. So now
Oh
they're
wow.
playing on this whole thing to try to save one of the characters' wife. And it's going to be a huge like teleport in, just bring as many of our allies as we can with us because they made some friends, including a dragon. So that's going to be baller.
All right.
They're bringing with them a brass dragon. So
Yeah. Next time we do one of these, you'll definitely have to tell me how that whole
oh
thing
yeah,
turned
I will
out.
definitely tell you how that turned out because that's probably going to be next week's game.
Oh really? Oh,
Yeah.
that's gonna be dope. All right.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
let's see. Uh, um, one random question. Have you been mostly GMing or mostly playing?
I've played a couple of times. I've played maybe like 3 or 4 characters, but I'm almost always dungeon master. I've kind of like settled into the role of being dungeon master for life.
Oh, okay.
There was a period where I was like, I want to be a player really bad. I got to be a player, and then Wizards of the Coast happens to be Wizards of the Coast and how they behave on all things. It's like, you know what? I'm just okay with being the dungeon master for my group. They need somebody to bring them something fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I've most of my gaming has been as a player, and like I GM'd a couple times. Partially it was like, okay, I either just need to learn how to actually GM, or uh, all right, if no one's gonna like actively want to freaking play this system, then I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna start a campaign and do whatever. And like apparently I'm not terrible, but I sort of just let things go as they may. It's like here's a vague semblance of what I want to happen. So as long as you're still going that way, I don't care.
Yeah. I try not to railroad my players ever. I try to let them make their own decisions, see what happens. If I have prepped enough of the world, there should be always plenty of stuff to do. And my players are always kind of like looking for like the big thing to be taken on. I don't know how many dungeon masters actually have this problem of like my players won't interact with the content. It's like, are you, well, my players always interact with whatever I put in front of them because they want to play the game. It's kind of like a weird issue going on there. Maybe you're not making it clear that this is actually what's going on in the campaign.
I think that could partially be it. Is like you're not doing, like the GM might not be doing enough to engage the party and or
Mhm.
flesh out what exactly is happening, or what players might want to do or something like that. Players could also just not give a shit,
Oh yeah.
or and then there's the GM that is like I really want you to do this thing, and they just go off and do stuff. And they're like, but I really want this.
Oh yeah. I've had that moment absolutely. Back when I was a young dungeon master once, unskilled, untrained. And you always get so many different problem players. I guess we can tell a story about player problems we've had.
uh, Occasionally, it's like I was kind of a problem player, not in a like I was kind of a problem player, not exactly in the way that oh, I'm ruining everything. It's just more of like I know for at least one particular dungeon, I just kind of subverted everything just by how my character was built. But okay, so here's a good question. Uh, what was like kind of your most noteworthy, like, oh, I planned for all of this particular stuff, and then it just completely fell through because of either weird roles or characters that just just like, oh, I have this really big boss fight planned. Oh, he just
I got
died in like two
two.
rounds.
I got two of those.
All right.
The first one I'm going to tell because it's slightly more entertaining. So I planned like years ago now to play an evil campaign set in this homemade setting I had. Uh, I TPK'd them in the first fight.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that.
No, they were actually going to be like they made themselves they made absolutely sure because my players have been playing with each other for a long time. They don't actually want to make each other upset.
Mm-hmm.
That their characters, because a lot of people play evil characters as selfish, and that's not always evil. All right, that's just being a dick sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So they
Yeah.
had made sure their goals aligned together. They made sure that their characters worked well and that they had synergy. They were just going to be the bad guys in this story. So
All
they
right.
were expecting to play a game until eventually I sent another group of adventurers after them, and those adventurers would eventually bring them down. That's what they were planning.
Mm-hmm.
No, the first guy they came up to was supposed to be like a drug dealer they were going to take over the operations of. No, his druggies took them out easily. It just boom.
Did you did you just stat them weird, or was it just all bad luck,
No,
or
it's just all bad luck. They were first level characters. I accidentally threw a few too many monsters at them. I used the zombies as these drug addicts
uh-huh.
stats. Just made them humanoids.
All right.
But they were immune to poison, and one of the characters specialized in doing poison damage. They had almost nothing else to them. So instead of running, they stayed and fight, and that's what got them killed. It's like, oh no, our attack is not doing anything. This person's completely useless. That person's already completely dead because they got critted. And it's just, well, that's how that ended. And we never played that game ever again. And we never spoke of it ever after.
Uh, oh yeah, I have something that sort of happened like kind of like that where just everything fell apart, and it was kind of I guess it was sort of karmic retribution because one of our players wasn't able to come that day, and it's like, don't play without me or whatever, and it's like, yeah, we could maybe do like a brief side mission or whatever. No, no.
No.
and uh and it's like, okay, so like both the bards choked, the rogue couldn't jump, we got caught immediately, all the siege equipment we had either shot wide or shot as it was just completely inaccurate.
Oh
uh
no.
I was completely useless because this, like, the game we were playing was a Zelda system thing that we were like, it was originally from the system itself was originally from 1D4chan, but they just sort of scrapped it and were like, well, we can take it and expound upon it and whatnot. So we were playing what we had built from that, and we didn't have anything beyond level 1 spells, so everything that I had was completely ineffective. So it just,
Yeah.
like, everything was worthless, no matter what we did, and then we called up our friend and just be like, "We're sorry, we're sorry we played
Sorry.
without you. We're not gonna
This is
do that
actually
again." And the running joke is like, "I'll tell you a tale of Noble Squad B who botched their last mission and hoped no one would see."
I love that.
uh,
Yeah.
let's see.
So the second story that I had for this, and you're going to notice that the common factor of everything that seems to go wrong is sitting right here. There seems to be a short between the keyboard and the chair. So when quarantine started and I had a lot more free time on my hands and my buddies were kind of down in the dumps because, they're out of work, they can't go to work, they're having trouble paying their bills.
Hmm.
I thought I'd cheer them up by playing Tomb of Annihilation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was
Because
open with that. It's like, hey, do you guys just want to play like Tomb of Annihilation? And they were like, you know what? Let's just go have some fun and die horrifically in this tomb. That didn't happen.
oh,
No,
okay.
I had the exact opposite problem where they were setting up all their magical items and stuff. And one of them approached me and said, hey, Monster Manual says that the Shield Guardian is a rare item, which you're allowing us to have. Can I have one? I looked it over and went, yeah, I mean, you're losing potentially powerful magic item for a powerful companion. You guys don't really have a strength guy with you, so there's your frontline fighter for this group. And most of the dungeon is just thinking through it instead of fighting things. So yeah, sure, go ahead, bring him on. I thought they were going to lose him in like the first trap. No, that thing stuck with them throughout the entirety of that dungeon and just ruined every single damn trap because it would either set them off or just completely ignore it. They didn't walk into any of the clear, like obvious death traps. They managed to avoid those. They didn't walk down the second. They didn't just. I was expecting them to. So at the very beginning of the tomb, there are 3 different halls that you can go into. You have to like spend hours digging it out.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
All right.
2 of these halls are false and will like collapse the ceiling or slam the walls closed on you. So that's that. You can die before you even get inside the tomb. But no, they managed to avoid both of those and go straight down the middle one. I'm like, okay, that's fine. He falls down the first pit. Nah, he takes some damage, but he heals up and he's back up. Managed to get him through all of this stuff. And then there's this one gauntlet room where you're basically having to figure out how to open up all these secret doors while crossbow bolts are being magically shot through the walls at you. And they just like, okay, buddy, you go in there, get all these doors open, and we're done. We're good. All right. I tried to throw the thing in lava. They managed to save it. And they try so hard to save this thing. And he manages to make it all the way to the second to last room where it's finally crushed between the floor and the ceiling.
Just send the golem in there.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I was like, oh. It really ruined the whole thing, kind of. And it's like, and I allowed it to be there. So now they mock me relentlessly. It's like, Chrome will just let you have whatever you want without thinking about what it can do. Just go ahead, ask for it. Yeah, he'll be like, yeah, sure.
I was like, if you say so.
No, so now I don't let him have anything.
Let's see. Like the first session I prepped for when I was running that quick try 10 game, was I was going to as like I mean this was this was a fairly new system. I backed it on Kickstarter and whatnot, and I guess I didn't really quite read through that. But I'll get into that. I'll get into why that was a problem later, because I was kind of thinking of, given the party's composition, it would be just sort of a more political intrigue, more like it's like I had this serial killer route I wanted to go through or something like that. So like the party, okay, so the party consists like it's I found ads for this thing on fucking Fur Affinity, so you can play as like humans and whatnot, but you could also play as a like furry character. So we had a fox that a parrot who was a diplomat, and the big bruiser turtle named Turt Reynolds and whatnot. So so starts off. Deputy of the guard, finds him and asks him like, "Hey, I kind of need some. Like, you're not from around here. I need some fresh faces. Please come with me." So she's like, "Okay, there's been a madman who's been attacking various nobles in the town, and it's been going on for like the past 3 months. Like, one was like bludgeoned nearly to death and is like practically in a coma. It was like, one person was like he was going after one person, but he ended up killing his sister by setting the west wing of the house on fire. sort of thing. And it was just like all these very no real modus operandi except for who he was targeting. And she was like, the newly elected mayor, I believe, is going to be next. So I was like, and there's a big party tonight. I want you to I was like, I want you to or go in there, just try to sniff the guy out, stop him if he tries to do anything. I don't know who it is, and then the police chief, he comes in and is like, "Are you still on that case? I told you not to blah 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 blah." But one of the things I kind of had was like, all right, so I'm going to have, it's like when the killer is revealed was going to be a set thing, but I'm going to have like all of these other various random events potentially happen if they run into them, and whatever they didn't see didn't happen, and I had everything set up, and it was so cool. And like, okay, we're gonna case the joint, we're gonna do this, and blah blah blah. And it's like, and everyone was having a lot of fun. I'm like, oh, this is so great! I can't wait for the big chase scene later. So they have some run into some minor mishaps. They actually stop a killing, but it wasn't towards the mayor. It was it was like a lady leaves the mansion, gets changed, goes around back, and you see her like pulling up a crossbow, aiming towards the window where everyone is and stuff like that. And Turt Reynolds, he just charges through the second floor window of the mansion, comes down, busts over, punches her once. She's like, ah, shit, I'm sorry. I'm like, wait, you're not the psycho, are you? No, I was after my cheating husband. Oh, well, okay, we're sorry. Everything's cool now. Don't worry. But and then the big moment finally arrived. It was dinner and everything. All of a sudden, the police chief kicks down the door in his underwear, points at the guy who looks at the police chief sitting at the table, and goes, "That man is an imposter." Then all of a sudden, the mayor is starting to have a fucking heart attack. He jumps out the window. Like, one of the guys stays behind to try to resuscitate the mayor, while the other two, were going to go on this big chase scene.
Yeah.
Would you care to guess what the problem was and how it just completely fell flat?
I'm going to guess they had some sort of way of stopping the chase from beginning.
No, it wasn't as nearly as long as it was supposed to be.
Uh-huh.
Why? The turtle was faster than my serial killer.
How was the turtle faster?
It's how you arrange your stats and everything like that. He had a higher speed, so his base foot speed.
How is the turtle faster?
He put more of his points into it.
What is he, Speedy Gonzales? Is he that one turtle from Looney Tunes with the rocket pack underneath his shell?
Agility was because he was a melee fight. He was a fisticuff guy, and he needed agility to be able to punch things, apparently. So so he kind of needed that for his own accuracy. But they were par strength for strength. So Turt would grab the guy, and even if I rolled to break him out of it, he couldn't run away.
No.
So he just like, okay, you got him. I was hoping for like something a lot more elaborate than this, but like, yeah, there's statistically there's no way he could escape you. So it was just like, well, that was kind of anticlimactic. Then I looked at the system later, and it's like, there's not really. There's some human enemies and whatnot, but it's really more of players versus monsters and whatnot. So I'm like, well, crap, I have to restructure the entire story of this campaign because there's barely anything I can do with this.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, it sucks whenever your chase runs down just absolutely awful. I've definitely have had more than enough of where I try to have like chase scenes, and they don't really work very well in like a strategy tabletop game. Like they're super cool and action based, but it's not really like strategy tabletop. Um, and then don't try to do big battles with like small groups of people. It doesn't work very well. They require their own system.
I mean, I've been in a
I've done
couple of
plenty of
huge
big,
battles, but
yeah, I've had to, but they always seem to just get sluggish and stale after a while. Individual characters don't do enough to destroy that many mooks at once, even if I try to make them import minions from 4th edition in.
yeah,
No.
you have to structure it just right in order to pull off
Mhm.
some kind of big battle.
No, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. It takes a great deal of planning because I've had like maybe 3 big battles during the whole time. One of them in this campaign where they laid siege to a underground fort in Skullport and tried to take it from the Xanathar when he reared his ugly head once again.
all right, then what happened?
Well, so we were all going through this, and they gathered up a couple of their allies, and they managed to pull some forces together from the variety of factions that they've made friends with, and they were going to lay siege to this basically a fort that's on this island in the middle of this underground bay.
All right.
Because they were trying to take this town for the city above in order to destroy the Xanathar, which is the Thieves Guild master. And because he failed at getting that massive amount of gold earlier in the campaign, he's been pulled back to like his final holdout. Because they managed to blow up his base with some dragon powder. And so we're going through this, and like this whole big battle takes the entire game. And luckily, it's been going very well the whole time. They get through the underground base. They managed to get through some ruins, get through the levels of Undermountain they needed to get through with this big, huge group of people. They have like maybe about 20 people with them. And then they're facing off against like a force of 100. They're meant to be a focused strike team. Get in, destroy all these specific locations, kill the Xanathar if you can, get out.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do that. No, instead they're like, okay, we're going to march right across the bridge, right past the front gate, and in we go, and we'll face everybody head on. They managed to keep a hold of maybe about half of their forces as they charged off and handled other things, trying to find key locations when they finally realized, oh, we can't fight all these people.
Oh no.
No, because they only have so many fireballs to destroy all these Durgar with.
Oops.
And then they got the one big guy flying around on a river and like they're Sauron. Then they find out that 2 other villains from the previous set they fought, Jarlaxle and Manshun, had teamed up with the Xanathar to try to plot against them. And now they managed to do all of this. And about the time where it's like, okay, everybody's clearly getting very bored with this, I decided to have Hallister Blackcloak, who's the master of Undermountain, show up to just bring everything to an end. Set him up to be the big villain towards the end because, level 20 wizard with a bunch of spells and madness, he's able to destroy stuff easily.
It's just like, okay, just call him the big gun fuck. Abort!
Get all that, go through, and then go into my Halloween special I was planning around the time.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah. It takes a lot of planning and a lot of careful considerations to run chases and big battles and certain scenes. But they can be really fun when they're pulled off.
Yeah, one of the most noteworthy ones I was in was it was in using that Zelda system again, because the whole story was it was like Hyrule versus this like giant army of the undead and stuff like that. So we were fighting a lot of skeletons and other stuff like that, and we had to protect this one fort. So
you mean like a fork in the road, or
I couldn't hear you.
Like a fork in the road, or
no, it was a fort.
Oh, fort. Okay, I heard fork.
I was like, we must protect the sacred fork of the. It's the Triumph Forks. They have to protect the Triumph Forks.
No, the Triumph Forks, they've fallen into the hands of evil. And rather than use them, evil has spread to the four ends of Hyrule. We must save them.
uh, all right. So, honestly, I could wax on just about the party composition because of
Yeah.
with how the system was constructed and everything like that. Yeah, you get experience points and you can spend them on pretty much whatever you want so long as you meet the prerequisites. And and you could make some really really weird shit out of it. Especially like my my favorite one of my favorite characters I made out of that was made purely out of spite.
Oh,
But
yeah, yeah.
and it wasn't like it wasn't a hatred kind of spite. It was more of like uh one friend was saying, no one's going to pick this particular thing. Like it has all of its abilities and all this other stuff is just too weird. And I was just like, fuck you, I'll find a way. And I did. And I let my then girlfriend at the time play it because she was super obsessed with penguins. So it's just like, yes, I made this murder machine that didn't give a shit. That was
Out of
also a walking flashbang. But back to the battle itself was we were trying to defend this fort. We had we had the bard just casting song magic. Like half the time he was just kind of doing his thing, and then it would eventually go off. We had we had the penguin character up on the tower, just shooting down enemies and whatnot. We had like me and and one or two other people just kind of going around the side of the enemy forces and just trying to like take out everything from there. It was just absolutely crazy. The entire moat was holy water. So it's just so when the bard's song finally gave off, it had a lot of push effects. So it's like you die, you die, you die, you die. You fall off the wall. You fall off the wall. You go into the moat. You go into the moat. You die. You die. You die. You die.
Burn.
It was kind of crazy, and there was one particular objective that it was one of those like more than likely not going to succeed, but there was some bokoblins digging underneath the tower that the archer just happened to be standing on, and they were going to blow it up, and we had one of our frontliners. He was going to go in and try to stop it, but then he got kind of pulled away, and he couldn't quite make it in time, and the bombs
Oh,
go off, and
no.
the entire tower collapses, and the GM is like, all right, roll, and it's like, roll an acrobatics check. She rolls insanely well, and she's she's still completely out of the fight. She's pinned under rubble, but she survives with one heart left.
Oh,
And
wow.
one of the things she just happened to have purchased with her XP from the previous session was an extra heart of health. So it's just so it's like, she rolled insanely well, and she became a member of the Face Tower Club.
Took a tower on with her face.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. Did you survive a falling tower of some particular sort? Then yeah, you're part of the club. I think she was member number 2 at that point, and I've officially I officially became a member. It was pre-outbreak, so but but it's like, yay, I'm a member of the Face Tower Club now. Woo!
That's awesome. Got to take on a tower by your face.
Oh yeah.
I love that.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of anything else we can.
Well, I have a couple stories. I got like maybe 2 more stories that I really want to talk about.
Oh, go right ahead then.
One of them is really good, and one of them is really bad. And I want to tell the really bad story because we talked a little bit about having bad players.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a bad player. Oh, I had the bad player.
Oh, you had a that guy?
I had a that guy.
Oh, do tell me your that guy
Okay,
story.
so this is a very particular that guy. So this is my first time playing online, and I'm playing a fourth edition game on Roll 20. There was
Okay.
my big mistake beginning with, and this is before Roll 20 came out and told them we don't want any more straight white guys on the platform. That's a whole story on its own.
That's a whole lot of bullshit on its own.
Yeah, that was some big bullshit. I don't know if you've heard that story.
Yeah, I remember it was that was a couple years ago.
Yeah, that was a couple of years ago.
But go on.
Yeah. So anyway, going on. So I managed to scrounge together a couple of people because I had no friends on the internet at this time. Managed to pull some people together just by posting up, "Hey, I'm wanting to run a game. Here's the game I'm running. Any of you guys interested? Let's make some characters." About 4 of them showed up, which is good. That's actually what I wanted because about 6 people applied. 4 of them showed up. 2 of them I never know what happened to. Uh,
Still a good party size.
3 of them came with characters. 1 of them didn't make a character. So I managed to sit with him for like an hour before the game started and actually helped him make a character. And the whole thing was they were supposed to try to ambush this group of elves who had a MacGuffin. I don't remember what it was that they needed. They get in, they set up their ambush. A rival clan comes into the same area to set up an ambush there. So they ambush the ambushers. And then the elves show up during this ambush. Uh, start trying to help out them because they think they're like another group of adventurers are being attacked. Let's help them. Then they get betrayed by the actual people who my players betray the elves. Throughout the entirety of this whole thing, the guy barely doing anything. It's a lot of what? I stab it. Okay.
So he was more of a non-player. Okay.
He was more of a non-player. He didn't remember any of his powers. Didn't write any of the stuff that I helped him build out at all. Didn't have any of his experience. Yeah. So I spent like an hour helping him build his character. And all the time he was just like, okay, yeah, sure. We got this, that, done. All right, cool. Because it takes a while to build a character.
Yeah, especially with fourth edition without one of those character builder programs.
Yeah. Didn't put a single bit of it down. Didn't have anything ready. They kill the elves and their pet wolves. And it's like, okay, you got your magical MacGuffin. All right, I pull my pants off. What? I start fucking the dead wolf. And it's like, what?
Okay, never mind. I was not expecting that. It's like, oh, it became one thing and then it just suddenly turned into another. Oh, fuck.
He still had his mic on and he started doing the deed. And it's like, oh, no, game over. Bye. You gone.
Oh, fuck.
Never played with any of those players ever again. One of them did send me a text. I'm so sorry that happened. Oh my god, that was awful. It's like, yeah.
Just yeet, no.
Yeah, no, that brought that game to a screeching halt.
I am glad it was online so you wouldn't have to just deal with his physical presence constantly.
You meet some weird ass people online.
Oh, don't mind the ice cream truck. Of course this thing has to show up when I...
Oh, I think that means the show's over. The ice cream truck's here. Go get some ice cream.
I'm not getting ice cream.
Not from an ice cream truck. Don't do that, no.
But and what's the other one? I was like, I'm gonna mute my mic and you tell me the other good story, the actual good story.
So this is the best story that has ever happened in any of my Dungeons and Dragons games. All right. This is the first time I've been playing 5th edition, and we are playing through the campaign Horde of the Dragon Queen. There's a portion of it where you go to the north and you have to try to fight this white dragon. And I went through looking through the lore, found out this white dragon actually has a presence in the world of the game. So I build up that presence a little bit. I find out he has a mate, and I was like, okay, that's cool. If they kill him, I'll have her show up as they're trying to get away to try to get that revenge. They kill the dragon. They're sailing away on their ship they hired out. So I have her show up. She comes by, blows her ice breath across the deck of the ship, freezes a bunch of the sailors and stuff. The captain manages to survive. He's pulling everything together. The sailors who did survive that attack are trying to get their ballistas ready to fire down on this dragon. I had the dragon go into the water to try to avoid everything. Barbarian was spending this entire time climbing to the top of the ship because he was going to try to do the whole take on the dragon at the top of the ship thing. But then I had the dragon go down, and he's like, damn it. Paladin, at this point, very tired, out of spells, has nothing useful on him, is just trying to keep his squire alive at this time.
Okay, I'm back.
Then,
Just letting you know, I'm live again. But go on.
all right, have you been
Protect the
hearing?
squire.
Yes, protect the squire. All right. So this leaves our third and final player that we had at that time, which was a cleric named Riberin the Tailor. Riberin the Tailor was not a cleric. Riberin the Tailor was a rogue with cleric powers. That's the only way I can describe him. He was a worshiper of the goddess of luck. And he would always find interesting and clever ways to try to use his spells and stuff. He had one really good spell slot left. And he's like, I never thought I'd actually get to use this spell. I cast part water. So he does his whole Moses thing as this dragon is underneath the boat trying to tear the bottom out of it. Water's parts, the boat falls on top of the dragon, dealing a massive amount of damage to her.
Nice.
Yes. And he's like, ha. Yes, I let the water secede back so the boat floats back up to how it should be so we don't get drowned. Dragon, very badly hurt, decides to just fly off because, she wants to live. Barbarian, who's been up on the top of the mast this entire time, pulls out his bow and arrow, aims, fires, kills the dragon. It's just awesome. Fantastic. And that we love the story of parting that boat. Parting the water, so using the boat as a weapon is fantastic. And Riberin has done many things like that throughout the entirety of the campaign. He's lied, he's cheated, he's managed to control the Tarrasque at one point, and he became a god. It's just
awesome.
Yeah, the legacy of Riberin the Tailor has echoed throughout my campaigns forever.
I'm trying to think of any like super just well, there was the time in that 4th edition game where it's like it was kind of just a like, I'm gonna warp you all in, you go kill this guy, whatever. And he was he was kind of like on the edge of the far realm sort of stuff, so he had like a few aberrant creatures hanging around him or whatever. So we all go in. The paladin rushes towards him. The guy like teleports and he's trying to go for the back line. The artificer, who was only there for that session, just uses one of his items and immediately hogties him. We knock him on his ass and we just start curb stomping him. And I just decided at that point, okay, like, I'm just gonna burn all of my abilities, and I'm just gonna go nuclear on him. I roll a crit, and I'm like, oh my god, I crit him. Then when I use all my other particular powers, I get to attack someone else with it.
Nice.
Oh my god, I crit him too.
Oh.
And so I just like, well, I'm just getting all my dice together, and also the weapon I had just got happens to deal more bonus crit damage to aberrant things. So it's like, oh, thanks, Lord Decado.
Excellent.
So I just take this massive amount of dice and like, I roll this much, boom, and
about how much damage?
I don't remember how much damage it was, but the other monster was completely pasted, and it took like maybe 1 or 2 more hits to to kill the guy off. So, but yeah, just within 3 rounds, we like strip him of all his buffs, hogtie him, knock him on his ass, and just. It's like, well, he's dead.
Nice. I love it. Sometimes, they one-shot your big bad guy. That's happened to me before. And sometimes the big bad guy TPKs them. but I love it when epic, awesome moments arrive in these games. These games are so much fun, and it's the imagination and the experience that you build up with all your friends.
Yeah,
It, it
sorry. I was like, I miss it. I miss it. It's been forever since I've been able to play D&D since it's like since these troubling times, these whatnot started happening, and I'm just
I'm
like I
lucky
miss
that
it
I
so
play
much.
online with my friends. It's just,
Hmm.
mhm.
Yeah, it's uh
But you know what? If we
fantastic.
can get my mods together, we'll try to play a game of D&D or something for a live stream or something.
Oh, that I actually
Sure.
would like
The
that
culture love
if we
to see that.
the Cult of Crow D&D session. Yeah, if I mean, granted, everyone's in really wonky amount of time zones and whatnot, so
Oh yeah.
yeah, good, but hey,
That's
if
something we have to try to plan out way in advance.
but yeah, if there's a like if you can make a miracle happen, fucking do it, man. I will
Maybe
totally join that game. But all right, so thank you very much for joining me in this conversation. I look forward to having another one in the future.
Of
And
course.
thank you to everyone else for listening in. And I will see you all next time.
Bye bye.